And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we have got a fantastic show lined up for you today. There has been absolutely nothing but news. I mean, all kinds of news going on. And so we want to deal with that. But first off, I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's on its way down to 62 degrees. That's good news. We'll give you some news updates for other parts of the world where we're broadcasting a little bit later in the show. But right now, I want to give you the 10 things that you need to know for today, Thursday, things that are in the news. Now, we've encapsulated them. We'll deal a little bit more in depth after this, but let me give you kind of an overview of what's going on in the news. And this is your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that are going to be talked about all day today, Thursday and tomorrow for that matter. And right off at the top, well, Trump promises a huge boost in military spending. The GOP candidate's plan calls for major increases in the number of active troops, fighter planes, Navy ships, and submarines. I didn't say how I was going to pay for it. Anyway, the other issue coming on is Kerry. Lavrov, they both agree to talks on Syria. The United States Secretary of State and Russian Foreign Minister will meet for extended discussions on ending the 5-year-old civil war. And what's come as a surprise to economists? Well, fear of a meltdown was the biggest weapon in the campaign to stop Britain from leaving the European Union. But so far, the economic indicators have been stable. And say goodbye to the iPhone's headphone jack. The iPhone 7 and 7 Plus won't have the analog jack that's been a staple for decades in just about every consumer electronics device that can play audio. And strength of Oklahoma earthquake is upgraded. A new measurement puts the weekend trembler at a magnitude 5.8 on the Richter scale, the most powerful quake ever recorded in that state. Well, welcome to California time. Anyway, how about this? Who's stepping down in wake of the Trump visit? Well, one of President Enrique Peña Nieto's closest advisors resigns in a move seen as linked to the unpopular decision to invite the billionaire businessman to Mexico. Yeah. Well, how about this? Yosemite is adding 400 acres of meadow forest. You know, it's the national park's largest expansion in nearly 70 years. Officials say the new land will be preserved as habitat for protected wildlife. And which couples are splitting more often? Well, the divorce rate among U.S. adults ages 50 and older doubled between 1990 and 2010, just a 20-year period. That's what the study shows. And Eat, Pray, Love, author goes public with relationship. Elizabeth Gilbert, who split from her husband in July, says she's in love with her best friend, a woman who was recently diagnosed with incurable cancer. And finally, Andy Murray bounced out at the U.S. Open. The number 2 seed dropped 7 consecutive games after a let call caused by a loud noise in the arena's speaker system and losses in 5 sets to Kai Nishikori. Yeah, well, so much for that, right? Well, you know what? Let's talk about some in-depth news. I think that's what we want to do right now. And right off the top, let's talk about Obama. He says Americans will reject Trump's wacky ideas. President Barack Obama said today that Republican Donald Trump proves he isn't qualified to be president every time he speaks, adding that he is confident Americans will ultimately reject the brash billionaire on Election Day. Obama, closing out his final presidential trip to Asia, said his meetings with foreign leaders during the trip had illustrated that government is serious business requiring knowledge, preparation, and thought out policies that can actually be implemented. He urged Americans not to allow the outrageous behavior seen amid the campaign season then to become the new normal. The most important thing for the public and the press is to just listen to what he says and follow up and ask questions to what appear to be either contradictory or uninformed or outright wacky ideas, Obama said. Well, that's I guess that's the definition of Donald Trump. I guess. I mean, what else could you say? Well, I can tell you this. The forum puts a focus on how Clinton is judged compared to Trump. If you saw that focus, I wanted to say the chief thing last night on NBC, when they compared each other, I can tell you that for months, Hillary Clinton's supporters have griped that she's held to a higher, harder standard than Donald Trump. But after Wednesday night's forum on national security, those complaints became a rallying cry. In the opening segment of the made-for-TV event, moderator Matt Lauer interrupted Clinton's answer to his first question about what it takes to be a commander-in-chief to set up 10 minutes of questions about her use of a private email system and her vote for the Iraq war. Trump seemed to skate by a half hour later as he repeated unchallenged the false claim that he was against the war, even though he voiced support for it in a 2002 interview. When Lauer introduced a question about how the Republican nominee is boning up on issues, he told Trump nobody would expect you to have delved deeply into foreign policy. You know what? And he wants to be president of the United States. On the other hand, I watched I can't even call it a debate. I suppose I'd call it an interview last night. And the truth is, neither one of them looked presidential. Neither one of them looked like, you know what? They both just looked like they were lying through their teeth. Anyway, here's something from Colin Powell. He says, using private email, same as private phone call. Former Secretary of State Colin Powell is defending himself following the release of a 2009 email exchange with Hillary Clinton describing his use of a private dial-up email account to carry out U.S. government business. Powell said in a statement today that he viewed his use of private email to communicate with foreign leaders and U.S. officials as private conversations similar to phone calls. He said he was unaware of any requirement that those messages be preserved as government records, potentially subject to public release. A retired Army general, Powell served as America's top diplomat during Republican President George W. Bush's first term. His exchange with Clinton was released yesterday by congressional Democrats. Republicans have sought to portray the Democratic presidential nominee's use of a private email server as reckless. Yeah, well, it looks to me like everybody is a little reckless these days, doesn't it? Yeah, I think so. Well, you know what? Clinton blasts Trump's comments on military generals and on Putin. Hillary Clinton blasted Donald Trump today for his condemnation of American military generals and his praise for Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying her Republican opponent had failed at proving he can be commander-in-chief. Every Republican holding or seeking office in this country should be asked if they agree with Donald Trump about these statements, Clinton said in a news conference the morning after both candidates appeared at a national security forum. Trump did not directly respond to Clinton's critique today. At a speech in Cleveland, he tagged his Democratic opponent with a new nickname, Trigger Happy Hillary, and repeated his incorrect claim that he opposed the war in Iraq from the beginning. Why can't these people just tell us the truth? Right off the top, just tell us the truth. I think we can handle it, don't you? Yeah, I think we can too. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about young voters from newer immigrant families, and they lean more liberal. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. And just before we left, I told you we're going to talk about young voters from newer immigrant families, and they seem to lean a little more liberal. You know, young Hispanic and Asian Americans who are immigrants or have an immigrant parent were more likely to be liberal in their views on politics and immigration than those with families who have been in the United States longer. A new Gen Forward poll shows that anyway, 87% of those age 18 to 30 who are immigrants or who have parents who are immigrants support allowing those who were brought to the United States illegally as children to stay legally, while 72% of those whose families have been in the United States longer agree. 85% of the first and second generation Latino and Asian immigrants and 74% of those who are third generation or greater oppose building a border wall. Having some sort of program that allows the illegal citizens to become legal citizens, I think it gives the viewpoint that the United States cares, said Juan Tavares, a 24-year-old from California whose parents were born in Mexico. You're going to have people who are illegal who will prove that they're loyal or that they care about what this country has given to them and that they would like a chance to give back. Still, Tavares, a U.S. citizen, says the United States could do more to secure its border with Mexico, including by building a wall in parts of California and Texas. Just because I'm Mexican, it doesn't mean I believe in an open border, he said. Well, good for you. We got to do something, honestly. This is a real tough situation when you think about it. You know, you think about the parents, and then you think about the kids, and you think about the grandkids. The parents came illegally, and the kids didn't know what's going on. They thought they probably even thought they were citizens, for God's sake. You know, who knows what's going on? But millions of people are going to get hurt unless we come up with some reasonable solution that's there. You know, what I found out the other day, and I didn't realize it, that if an illegal alien joins the military here in the United States, that with that, as a result of that, they are actually fast-tracked into citizenship. You know what? It makes a lot of sense to me. Well, as a study done, Latino population growth slips behind Asian Americans. The growth of the U.S. Latino population, once the nation's fastest growing, slowed considerably over the past 7 years and slipped behind that of Asian Americans amid declining Hispanic immigration and birth rates. That's what a study said that was just released this morning. The Pew Research Center study, which analyzed U.S. Census Bureau data, found that the United States Hispanic population grew annually on an average of about 2.8% between 2007 and 2014. That's down from 4.4% annual growth from 2000 to 2007 before the Great Recession. By comparison, the Asian American population grew around 3.4% on average annually during the same period. William H. Frey, a demographer with the Brookings Institution Metropolitan Policy Program, the slower growth is largely a factor of the economy. A slower economy is influencing families to hold off on having more children, and it's discouraging immigration amid stronger border enforcement, is what he actually said. And it makes sense. Actually, there are more Hispanics leaving the country now than there are coming in, which is kind of interesting if you think about it. And it's got to do with jobs. It's got to do with border control. It's got to do with all those things. How about this? U.S. tries a rescue mission in Afghanistan, but hostages just weren't found. U.S. Special Operations Forces launched a rescue mission to retrieve 2 men kidnapped by insurgents in Afghanistan last month, but the hostages were not there when the rescue team arrived, U.S. defense officials said just today. Pentagon Press Secretary Peter Cook said the rescue mission was approved by Defense Secretary Ash Carter and authorized by the president. Cook said no U.S. personnel or civilians were injured and added that he would not provide any more details in order to protect the safety of hostages and the operational security. According to defense officials, the mission was delayed one day because of questions about the intelligence and whether the hostages, an American and an Australian, who worked at the American University in Afghanistan, were there. Officials would not provide the precise timing or location of the rescue attempt because they said it would or could jeopardize any possible future missions. Well, we'll see what happens. The delay may be what actually caused the problem. You just never know. How about this? The Marines say a recruit killed himself amid a culture of abuse. A Marine recruit committed suicide in March amid a widespread culture of hazing and abuse in his battalion at Parris Island that could lead to punishments for as many as 20 officers and enlisted leaders, the Marine Corps said just today. Some of those 20 commanders and senior enlisted leaders have already been fired, including the 3 most senior Marines in charge of the recruits unit. The Marines also ordered that the rest of the be temporarily relieved, according to a statement sent to the Associated Press. The punishments could range from administrative punishments such as counseling to the most severe action of military charges and a court-martial. However, that process could take months, and the leaders would not be identified unless they are formally charged. So, you know what? Let's see what happens with that. In any event, we have to take one more short break. When we come back, we're going to do the IRS loses. And our first case is the IRS must repay funds after a refund deadline has expired. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, yeah, and I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're going to talk about the IRS loses. It just sends chills up and down my spine. I love it so much. You know what? Let's just get right to it. The first case is that the IRS must repay funds after a refund deadline. Now, here's the deal. An estate held property that was involved in litigation and hard to value. Now, before filing its return or receiving any tax bill, it actually remitted $165,000 to the IRS to stop penalties and interest from running on any tax that it might owe. Now, later, it filed a return showing no tax due, but the IRS said that the deadline for refunding its $165,000 tax payment had passed. Well, the estate said the $165,000 hadn't been a tax payment, but a deposit not subject to the deadline. So they went to court. This is what the judge said. You know what? No tax had been calculated at the time of remittance, and the IRS's own rules say that an unsigned remittance, I should say undesignated remittance, made before a tax liability is proposed is a deposit. So the estate gets its money back with interest. Yeah, absolutely. And also the cost of the attorney fees. Now that just makes sense. How about this? The IRS loses. A wife in a community property state gets credit for all of her withholding. Sounds normal, right? Well, listen to this. You know what? A couple separated after the 8th month of the year and filed separate returns. Now, the husband had income during the 8 months but paid no tax. Under community property rules, the IRS said that half this income was taxable to the wife. She was employed and had $38,354 of tax withheld from her pay. But the IRS credited the husband with $12,785 of it, half of the withholding during the 8 months. Well, she protested, went to tax court. This is what the judge said. The wife was property taxed on her half of the husband's income, but it was inequitable to deny her credit for the tax that she had paid and credit it to the husband who had paid none. So she gets credit for all of her payments. Now it makes a little more sense, right? Sure it does. How about this one? The IRS loses. Improper deductions will not prove fraud. Here's the thing. Carla Sala invested in a large amount of money in what the IRS said was an illegal tax shelter. Now, it sent a tax bill that he paid, but he then sought a refund of $1.5 million of interest that the IRS could collect only in fraud cases. So this is the IRS's position. They said the shelter was fraudulent because the deductions that it gave were much larger than any amount Sala ever risked losing on his investment in it. So he went to court. This is what the judge said. Sala's small risk of loss might make the deductions improper, but fraud requires acts of deceit and concealment from the IRS. Sala had acted openly and even obtained a lawyer's opinion about the shelter's property before investing in it. There was no proof of fraud, so the refund, he got it. Absolutely. It was allowed. Now, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at right now with this segment we call Inside the IRS, very much like the Twilight Zone. Well, if you've guessed that, this is not a tax court case, and so it's not a precedent that you can actually rely upon, but it's information, things that the IRS has done and continues to do, that if you know about it, you can use it to your advantage. And that's kind of where we're at right here with this segment that we call Inside the IRS. And right up the top, it says, deducting medical expenses even if you are not sick. Can you imagine? Well, under IRS rules, a deduction will be allowed for an expense paid for the diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease for the purpose of affecting any structure or function of the body. Well, what about a pregnancy test? The IRS ruled in their revenue ruling that the amount paid for a pregnancy test qualifies as an expense for medical care since it affects the function of the body. Also deductible, although not part of the revenue ruling, is whirlpool baths prescribed by a physician and a mattress bought specifically to alleviate an arthritic condition are also deductible. You know what? Jacuzzis, hot tubs, it just goes on and on and on. You'd be surprised. How about this? What the IRS lawyers are saying to each other and to the field officers. Until overturned by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, the chief counsel of the IRS took the position that emails containing legal advice drafted by an IRS lawyer, even though they took very little time to prepare, actually less than 2 hours, should be treated the same as a telephone conversation and were therefore not required to be publicly disclosed. Well, the current rule, IRS attorneys are required to copy all emailed legal advice to a special electronic inbox from which they are now to be released consistent with the usual disclosure laws. Now you know what's going on with that. Well, you know what? We're going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:32 p.m. Pacific time, currently 86 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's on its way down to 62 degrees. And if you're out by the beach here and you're in Torrance, California, it's 75 degrees and partly cloudy. I want to tell you that's beautiful out here. And you know what? If you're stuck in Wichita, Kansas, where it's hot and it's humid and it's overcast, it's mostly cloudy and it's 84 degrees, well, get inside and turn on your radio if you haven't already done it, because we're with our own Sean Lefebvre in the Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, good buddy, how you doing?
Awesome. I am inside and it's raining outside.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, that's a good combination.
Well, that's got to be refreshing, though.
I guess.
Just cleaning up all that, cleaning off all that dust off those leaves and things from the trees.
The nice part is I don't like washing my car, so this means that I don't have to wash for a while.
Well, that's good news. That's good news. Listen, we haven't talked for a while because I've been under the weather. What's new and exciting in your world?
Well, gosh, well, let me see here. In my world specifically, I'm going to talk about, there was something that happened. Tuesday was a 40th anniversary of something very significant in the world, and most people probably don't even realize it. So we're going to talk about that because we didn't get to talk about it on Tuesday. But in my world specifically, this year, I'm doing a seminar in Ogden, Utah at the end of this month, and I'm excited about it. It's with a company called Systemic Formulas, and I love their products, but I love the teachers that they bring in to just teach about all these new, cutting edge ways of, working with. Well,
you would say that since you're going to be one of them.
Well, I'm not going to be one of the speakers there. I'm going to be one of the listeners.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
No.
I'm so accustomed to you giving the seminars.
But there is that going to happen. So I'm going to be a sitter and listener in that, and then 2 days later, and actually 2 and 3 days later, I'm going to be doing 2 separate talks. I'll be standing and talking and delivering the message. But yeah, so it's a Friday, Saturday seminar out in Ogden, Utah, and then from there I'm going up to Twin Falls, Idaho.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And,
that's a nice area. That's a nice place.
Yeah. That's a real pretty part of Idaho. So I'm going to be anywhere kind of in the Rocky Mountain area is really pretty in my opinion. But I love mountains and I love pine trees. And
so I have to ask you, Sean, how is it that you were able to? You certainly deserve a little respite from your incarceration in Wichita. But how was it you were able to swing this?
It was funny. I was actually at another seminar a few months ago. And, you're at these seminars and you're talking to these people, and there's all these physicians there and on and on. And I'm talking to this one gal and I probably, I'm one of these guys that I'm a social butterfly. Probably not a big shock on that one, but
what? The only thing that's a little surprising is I'd love to see a picture of you in your tutu.
I have a really nice tutu. So I'm always meeting people. I treat these seminars that I go to. I treat them like kindergarten. Like the primary function is to make new friends.
Mm-hmm.
And of all the people that I met there, this woman that I met, nice gal, she sends me a message. I don't know, it was about a week or so ago, and said, "Hey, how things going since Ogden?" And I said, going really well. I'm out in Wichita, Kansas right now, working with a doctor out here, yada, yada. And she said, "Hey, can we get on the phone? I got some questions. I got some stuff I'd like to talk to you about." When someone sends you a message like that, you're always curious. Okay, are they trying to sell something? Like what do you want? What's going on here? And so we set up a time. I didn't really ask any questions. And I'm always, okay, I'll get on the phone with anybody. And if it gets to the point where I go, okay, if they're trying to sell me, some new juice supplement, then I'm, that I'm not interested in, I'll cut them off and end it. But so we get on the phone, and she just says, "Hey, I got all this stuff, and I really want to get this program implemented in my office, and I just don't know what to do. Can you give me some pointers?" She goes, "I've got all these people, but I don't know how to get things going." And so she said, "What works for you? What can I do?" So we start, kind of brainstorming a little bit, and about 30 minutes into the conversation, she finally says, "Would you come out here and do a talk or two here at my office for me, and we can promote it, and I can bring people in, and you can talk to them, and you can explain to them how this works, and kind of use that to get." I said, "Yeah, sure, I'd love to." So I got me a speaking gig in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Well, you know what? They couldn't have called on a more articulate gentleman.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks. And I had good reference. I was lucky. She knows that I know Dr. Pompa and a lot of the people that deal with this stuff. And she said, "I know you know what you're doing. You know how to do this." And I said, "Yeah, of course I do. I love it. It's what I've been doing for over 10 years now." And so yeah, man, I'm excited. It's, and that's one of the things that I love to do, is get up in front of people and speak. It's
one of the great things about this particular gig that you're going to be doing is that you don't really have to prepare. You've got all of that information, and you could talk forever with just what you've got in the top of your head.
Right. Yeah. And that's the nice part, is it's not like, she's coming to me and saying, "Hey, can you give a talk on, lymphedema or something like that I've never really talked on before. I got to do a lot of research. It's just talk about what you know. And, the only thing I've got to do is go through and figure out which PowerPoint slide presentation I want to use and modify it to fit, her company and her name on there, and a few things. But, I printed up actually not printed up, but I made up some flyers, to help promote it and, but really, literally everything that I need to do to get ready for this, I could do in if I wanted to sit down for one full day, I'd have it all hammered out. And so it is nice, it's nice to be able to sit down. And when you think about it, really anybody who's really good at what they do, whether it's a musician, a physician, a comedian, whatever, they deliver the same thing.
Yeah.
Every single time. You go to a concert here in Wichita, Kansas, and let's say, like that guy, I can't think of his name, Gary, was going to be here in Wichita. Well, if I went and saw him a month later in California, it would be exactly the same concert. I mean, there might be a 10% difference, but that's about it. And so really, that's kind of a key with anything in life. If you want to get good at something, you just need to do it over and over and over again. And the problem is most people, they get bored. I've had this conversation with people who are like, well, I like we were going to go to dinner. I was going to dinner with a friend, and her son didn't want to go there because he went there like 2 days ago. And I'm like, 2 days ago, I could eat at the same place every day for 5 years and probably not get tired of it, Yeah. Like Chipotle is one of those places that I literally could eat at Chipotle probably every day and not get tired of it, and for me, like, I'm one of these guys that I'll eat, I'll make food. When I cook, I love to overcook. I tend to do that, and I don't know if it's like a sickness I got or what, but I can't just cook enough for however many people are sitting at the table. I got to cook enough for like 30 people, just in case like a football team stops by and needs dinner.
Well, keeping that in mind, I've got, because I moved to a new location, and I've got some new neighbors, and they're just really, really nice people, and I introduced myself to them, and of course we got to know each other quite well. And every once in a while they'll send a care package over because she likes to bake on the weekends, right? So I thought, well, okay, I think we can do this. So now when I'm having a special dinner, I make a little extra and I send them over a care package. So we never know what's going to happen, and it's a lot of fun. Every once in a while.
I've had friends that I've done that with, neighbors, friends that I'll do that with too. In fact, my buddy Craig here in Wichita, this was probably a week and a half or so ago. I don't remember when it was within the last week or two anyway. Mm-hmm. I said, hey man, I made a bunch of lasagna and it turned out really good. I said, don't plan on dinner tomorrow because I'm bringing some for you. Or don't plan on lunch. I mean, at work tomorrow, I'm bringing lunch to you. And so I packaged it up, put it on a little dish, and I took it out and I actually heated it up before I left the house and insulated it and drove over to his office. All I had to do was put it on a plate and it was warm for him. But yeah, I'll make enough food that I'll eat leftovers. I'll eat the same leftovers for the rest of the week and be totally happy because I'm going, gosh, this is really good.
Well, you know what, Sean? It's interesting. It's interesting you say that because I love leftovers too, and I can actually kind of recreate leftovers. I can, what I had as a main course might wind up being in a sandwich the next day, or might even be in soup. Yeah. You never know what I'm going to do with it. And I love leftovers.
One of my. Oh, go ahead.
But a lot of people that I talk to won't touch a leftover.
I know. I know people like that too, and it kills me. I'm like, why don't I know people who don't eat leftovers, and I don't get it because I just love leftovers. And one of my, I love Chinese food, and I've tried to make it at home, and I'm not very good. I can do some stir fry, and it's okay, but for some reason, it's never as good as when you go to a good Chinese restaurant.
Oh yeah.
And so I love going out and getting Chinese food, and then of course, there's usually a little leftover box of food. Mm-hmm. You know what I love doing with leftover Chinese food? Because it's usually got all the vegetables and there's meat. It's like little pieces of meat and stuff in there, like chicken or whatever, pork, whatever it is.
You mix it all together.
I love taking whatever my leftover Chinese food is and I make an omelet out of it.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, just, you whip the eggs up, throw them in the pan, cook them, and then put some cheese in there and put your Chinese food in there and fold it in half and bam, you've got breakfast. And oh my gosh, Chinese food omelets. It doesn't matter what you get.
Well, I'll tell you what I do, depending on what the Chinese food is that I have left over. A lot of times it winds up being a burrito the next day.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can wrap almost anything in a tortilla.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And I've got steak and potatoes left over. Put it in a burrito, wrap it up, and go to town.
And then would you agree that sometimes that leftover, whatever you had, actually tastes better the next day because those flavors have kind of melded together, and it actually improves the flavor sometimes?
Yeah. For a lot of leftovers, that is absolutely the case. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, same thing. You said, just all the flavors they blend and it smooths everything out. And, it's wonderful. Yeah, some leftovers I actually prefer to put them away and then eat them the next day, and they do. They, like you said, they taste better the next day. Some things not so much. French fries are one of those things.
Oh.
They're horrible. Now, potatoes in general, like when they're cold, you're like, yeah, like I can do cold mashed potatoes, but like if I've made hash browns or something, I got to heat them back up before I eat them.
Oh yeah, yeah. But mashed potatoes from one night to the next day, I'll take the mashed potatoes and make a patty out of the mashed potatoes and fry them. Geez, maybe use it as a base, or maybe eat the fried mashed potatoes, in a patty, and have it with eggs and bacon, or I might put it into between a slice of bread with some tomato and some beef and whatever. Man, you can do a lot with potatoes.
Yeah, you can. That's potatoes. Potatoes are magical, and you just got to know. I was talking to a buddy of mine about this. This was quite a while ago, but we were talking because I love breakfast. Breakfast is I love eating breakfast. I love cooking breakfast. There's something special to me about breakfast.
Yeah.
But we were talking about making hash browns, and he said, the hard part with cooking hash browns is, you're trying to stir them, because you want to, and he goes, and they get kind of mushed up, and you smash them, and then you got this paste, you get this. I said, no, here's the key. I said, you've got to use plenty of oil or butter or whatever it is you're cooking.
I use a mixture of both. When I'm doing hash browns, I use a little bit of butter and oil. The oil is what makes it a little bit crispier, and the butter just puts flavor in it.
That's exactly what I do. I use a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of butter. Yeah. And exactly what you said is you've got to have the oil to crisp up to that, because the whole thing especially with making hash browns, is what I call moisture control. Yeah. You can't touch them once they've been cooked, because they want to smash. And so what you got to do is you just kind of learn how to flip them around in the skillet. You pick the skillet up and flip it like you see the chefs do, at the restaurant. Yeah. But what that does is it stops them from getting smashed, and they get nice and crispy on the outside. And oh man, I tell you, with potatoes, if you know how to work with potatoes, they're almost unbeatable. And I love sweet potatoes.
And something else you might not know about mashed potatoes, if you're making a soup and you want it to be a little bit thicker, the mashed potatoes actually work very much like flour or arrowroot or that kind of stuff. It actually thickens the soup up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, mashed potatoes, yeah, I've used them. I put them in, exactly like you said, I put them in soup. Like, I know the big thing people love to do is put them in chicken noodle soup, and it thickens it up. But, mashed potatoes are great for stuff like that. Yeah. Potatoes just have such a wide array of uses. They're absolutely wonderful. So, how do we always end up doing a cooking show?
I was just sitting here thinking that same thing. Matter of fact, I was sitting here thinking, how the hell did we even get into cooking? How did we get started on that? And I forgot how we even got.
I mean, this started with me talking about going to do a speaking engagement up in Idaho, and then at least we're on potatoes. I mean, we got Idaho and we got potatoes, so at least there's a connection there. But I don't know how the transition works from here to there. But
so listen, you said it was a major anniversary last Tuesday, and we missed it.
So Tuesday. There's a man who lives here in this country now. He's not originally from here, but I'll shell out his name first and see if you know who he is. Have you ever heard of a guy named Victor Belenko?
I don't think so.
See, a lot of people haven't, and I think Victor Belenko is just a very fascinating person in our history. He's still alive. He lives here in the United States, but he was a fighter pilot in the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Mm. And he was a young lieutenant, I think in his late 20s. And there's a book out that talks. It's basically a book of his life, at least up to that point. Anyway, it was written in 1980. It was written by a guy named John Barron, and of course, he collaborated with Victor Belenko in getting all the details of the story right. But John Barron wrote this book. It's called The MiG Pilot, and it's about Victor Belenko and how he grew up. He was born into a Ukrainian family and ended up joining the Soviet military and kind of just a life that he led, and it talks about everything from what life was like, living in the Soviet military. He talks about everything from the stereotypical stuff like we think of, vodka. And when I went to Ukraine, I haven't been to Russia, but I've been to Ukraine, and they still, at least when I went there, love their vodka, and they drink a lot of it, and they offer it to you on a continuous basis.
Well, believe me, I've been to Russia, and they're not falling back on it either.
Yeah. They still to this day, they love it. And vodka was cheap. I remember getting a bottle of vodka there that was absolutely delicious, and it cost me $1.
Yeah.
And this was in the 90s. Anyway, so he he talked about how, they just kind of drank vodka to kind of, keep themselves sane through the long winters, and when they would run out of vodka, they would actually drink the jet fuel. And I mean,
I'm sorry, they drink what?
Drink the jet fuel that they put in their airplanes to fly their fighter jets.
Oh, jeez.
Well, the plane that he flew was it's called the MiG-25 Foxbat. And it was an airplane that's kind of similar to our F-15, and it was something that we really didn't know a lot about, that airplane. It was we knew that it was a super high performance. It was extremely fast. We had clocked it at like 3.4 Mach or something like that. Mm-hmm. And we knew it was fast. We knew it was highly capable. It carried a lot of armament, and it was a scary airplane to us. It was one of those airplanes that we went, wow, this is a really frightening airplane. This could be a game changer in a real war. Mm-hmm. Well, Victor Blanco, that was the plane that he flew. He was a pilot in that plane. Well, he was a pretty smart guy apparently, and he paid attention to politics, and he would listen to what his country was saying, and then he would watch what was going on in our country, and the two things just didn't really add up to him. He said, well, my country says that of course we all say the same thing. Their politicians are crooked. They say our politicians are crooked, which politicians are crooked, but the things like how they have absolute power and on, and they would say the same thing about us. But then he would watch the news and go, well, why is it that they're able to impeach like that? He saw Nixon being impeached, I believe it was. And, he thought, how are they able to do this to their president if they have such a harsh regime in their government? He would look at how the protesters that we would have in our country, or just the things that the Americans did and how they lived, and it just didn't add up. And finally he decided, you know what, I think maybe life in the United States might be better than it is in the Soviet Union. He kind of came to that conclusion on his own. And so he devised a plan, and one day they took off. He was stationed on the eastern edge of Russia, and they took off for a flight, and he gunned it, and he bolted. He got down to ground level as low as he could, got out over the ocean, stayed just literally 100 feet above the ocean under radar, and flew his plane to the closest non-Soviet base, or not base, but landing strip he could find. And he's on a runway on a small island that belonged to Japan, and he landed there. And of course, the runway it was made for smaller, like private jets and stuff. It wasn't made for a big military airplane. This is a pretty good sized airplane. And he hit the runway, he landed, and of course it was all visual. It wasn't like he was talking to the controllers on the way in. All of a sudden, they're looking and they see this airplane coming in, like, what is this? And this thing lands, and all of a sudden they're all freaked out because here's this Soviet military aircraft landing, and he goes off the end of the runway and stops in the grass. And of course, everyone is kind of gathering around, and they're all looking at this like, what is going on? And of course, he's a little freaked out because all he sees is people who are technically supposed to be his enemy coming towards him. So he pulls his gun out and fires a couple shots in the air as a warning, like, hey, stay back, because I don't know what's going on right now. And eventually someone came out, they talked to him, got him down from the airplane. And we brought that airplane. We disassembled the airplane to where we could get it on a C-5. And this was in 1976. So it was 40 years ago this past Tuesday. And we brought it back to the United States, and we did a bunch of tests on it, and we learned a lot about their airplane. And it was for us, it was a big game changer because that airplane was not capable of doing what we thought it was capable of doing. And they clocked it at Mach 3.4. He said, yeah, I can do that fast. He goes, but once you land, you got to put a whole new set of engines in it. He goes, it'll just destroy the engines. He goes, it will do that, but you can't ever fly it again. And so they of course they brought the airplane back, but they also brought him back, and they obviously had a lot of questions for him. And they flew him back first class on a 747. I gave him this spread of food, and in the book, he talks about how he saw this amazing spread of food that he was given. He thought, there's no way people live like this. This is impossible. This food this delicious food this fresh doesn't exist kind of thing to him. You know, he thought this is just a big show the government is putting on. And then he gets to the United States and he realizes, you know, more and more, he said, wow, life here really is amazing. And, you know, and it's just, I don't know, something about the whole story. It's just, to me, it's kind of you know, it's a romantic story, obviously, but, you know, it definitely, I'm sure in the Soviet Union, they probably still look at him as a traitor. And, we look at him as a hero.
Sure.
Because he helped us. But he settled down, and he actually, because I think he needed to get, you know, he needed to live in a place where he wasn't, where he was on a kind of a low profile. He ended up living in the country, and he ended up flying like barnstormer style stuff in these airplanes, you know, going around and doing air shows and, you know, these little air shows and on and on. And he would dust crops and do whatever he could, you know, to make a living. And it's just a fascinating story, but it's amazing, you know, the whole dynamics, and especially when you look at what's going on, you know, right now we've got our country, what's politically going on with the elections and on, and, you know, good guys versus bad guys within the country and outside the country, you know. And it's just interesting to think how, you know, you've got a man who defected. He went to Japan just so he could defect, and he let them know, I'm here because I want to defect from the Soviet Union, and he wanted to go to the United States. And it's just interesting, you know, in light of really what's going on with us right now in our elections and all this immigration laws and on, that you know, to think.
Well,
that,
see, it's a good thing. It's a good thing this happened 40 years ago, because if he was listening to what's going on in our politics today, he probably wouldn't want to come.
Yeah, he would have gone somewhere fun like Costa Rica, or, you know. Yeah, he'd be like, yeah, no, the United States. He goes, I'm just going to go bomb them because they probably that'll help them.
Yeah. Syria's looking pretty good to him right now.
Yeah. Hey, Syria just has a lot of openings. A bunch of people left. There's got to be some cheap houses there.
Yeah, they got some vacancies. Yeah. They got vacancies over there.
They definitely got vacancies. So anyway, yeah, so 40 years ago, and I don't know why, but that was, you know, I got a hold of that book. Matter of fact, I had to buy it used because it was no longer in circulation. This was back in the mid-'90s when I finally found this book, and I read it, and it was just an absolutely fascinating book to read. And I've actually talked to people who have seen him speak and said he's very interesting, but he's also kind of a bit of a drunk too. You know, that he's kind of
so he's a fun guy.
Yeah, he's fun. Yeah, they're like, yeah, he's kind of belligerent and he's kind of a drunk, and I'm like, so he's like what we picture all Soviet people to be like. Got it. Yeah, so where's the downside here? Yeah. But yeah, it's just a fascinating story. Anyway, 40 years ago, that happened, and
that's really interesting. We have to take a short break. And are we going to continue our cooking classes? Or are we going to continue with Blinko? Or do we have something new we're going to talk about?
Oh, we'll figure out something new to talk about when we come back.
All
you
right.
might have some questions, I'm sure.
Okay, we'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner, directly from Wichita, Kansas. Don't go away. I'm not kidding. That's where he's at. Yeah.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, They're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4 p.m. Pacific time. It's 86 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's down from 89 degrees on its way to 63 degrees. And you know what? If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 85 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's 82 degrees and it is mostly cloudy. And if you're listening to us in Wichita, Kansas, and you should be. Matter of fact, you should be listening to us in Wichita, Kansas, at least every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's only 6 o'clock there. You know, it's not even time for dinner yet, for God's sakes. You know, you've got to be listening to us. If you're not listening to us, you're making a big mistake. Anyway, Sean.
I agree.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're not listening to us in Wichita, for God's sakes, you're missing one of our own local Beach Boys, Sean LaFave, and his, I was going to say, Geared for Wellness group. I didn't know what the hell to say. So, anyway, my friend, what do we got? What do we got going on for this next half hour?
Well, I'm curious. I know that every now and then we touch on politics, and so did you watch the commander-in-chief? I don't want to call it a debate. I don't know.
I wasted an hour doing that.
Yeah, I was going to say the wasting is probably the right word. But what did you think?
I thought it was horrible. I wasted an hour. Watching two people that should never be president of the United States. You know, it just nauseated me. I just can't believe it. The same old crap, the same old stuff. The one time they had an opportunity, and you know what? And even the commentator, Matt Lauer kind of dropped the ball. I mean, he couldn't even control these people. You know. Yeah. You know, it's just same old stuff. You know, I was actually going to say I can't wait for the debates, but the debates are going to be the same crap as what I saw Wednesday night. I might just pass on them. This is what a travesty this election is going to be. And then today, I don't know if you saw it. Today, the libertarian, what's his name, Gary
Johnson. Gary Johnson.
He was asked about what he would do about Aleppo, and he says, "What's Aleppo?" You know, and I think he thought it was a puppy dog or something, and I think he just screwed his chances of ever even getting into the debates.
Yeah, you know, I've seen him speak a couple of times, and I'm just not impressed at all. I look at him, I go, he sounds about as smart as a box of rocks. You know, he obviously must have a brain, and he must be capable of something because he holds an elected position already. But how anyone could think that this man is a good choice? I just don't get it. The few things that I've heard him say, I look at it and I go, wow, you're you are probably worse than Clinton when it comes to how you handle these questions. It's just terrible. It's just terrible.
Oh yeah, it's you know what, I am becoming. I watch. I hate to say this. I watch about 4 or 5 hours worth of news stations every day, and most of it's political, and it's the same stuff over and over and over again. And I'll look over at my wife Marlene and I'll say, "Do we really have to watch some more of this? I mean, this is crazy." She says, "You're not watching it because of me."
Exactly. Yeah. I can't hardly watch the news, even the local news or national news or whatever. I can't hardly watch it anymore these days. I mean, I'll sit there and I just get so angry, and and I want to yell at the TV. Sometimes I probably do yell at the TV, and I go,
the news has become an entertainment show instead of a news show. What happened to the Walter Cronkites and the 60 Minutes and all the stuff that used to really be informative and give you an unbiased approach of what's going on? Today, you can't watch any news program. I don't care what station it is that it's not biased toward whatever their political persuasion might be. I don't want that. I want to have a totally objective broadcast so I can make up my own mind about what's going on. I don't want to have to sit there and decide, God, are you lying to me too?
Yeah, exactly. And even when it seems like they might be slightly objective, they still may only be telling one side of the story. They may be reporting it in an objective manner, but they're not telling you the full story. They're telling you the side of the story they want you to hear, the angle they want you to see. And it's just, and you're right about the whole, sensationalism and entertainment side of it. It's become a form of entertainment. Like even the opening for the Commander-in-Chief talk, was, there he is. I'm on the USS whatever. Like, I care what ship you're on. There's all these really cool airplanes and the camera's panning around and these really cool angles. I'm like, you know what? I remember thinking as they're done, like, I don't care. You could be standing in the middle of the bathroom and it wouldn't change my opinion on what I want to hear these people talk about, but you making this a big production where you're on why did you need to be on a warship to do this? I get it. That's what this is about. It's about going to war. I don't need to see, the USS Nimitz. It wasn't the Nimitz, but whatever
no, it was. The Intrepid.
The Intrepid, I don't need to see the USS Intrepid. It's a cool ship, great.
Well, first of all,
airplanes.
I wouldn't have minded a tour of the Intrepid, except that they had it so, they had so much going on, tents on the top, you couldn't even tell that it was an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
You just couldn't. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Something is happening in Northern California up by Eureka. Were you aware of it?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
I want to tell you, holy cow. Now, there's a California steer that's vying for the world's tallest bovine. That's what's going on in Eureka, California today. A giant 1-ton Holstein steer who loves to eat bread and romps like a puppy at a Northern California zoo is vying for the title of world's tallest bovine. His name is Daniel, and he measures 6 feet 4 inches from hoof to the withers. Where I guess that's the top of his shoulders.
At the withers?
6'4".
Oh my God, that's not a cow.
Well, his name is His name is Daniel, so it shouldn't be a cow. Maybe it's Danielle. Maybe it's Danielle. A smidge taller than the current record holder. Can you believe that?
No, I can't actually. I didn't know that is a massive.
Well,
massive.
I want you to know that it's difficult to find news that isn't stupid like politics.
We want to talk about good stuff like huge cows. God only knows how they got that big. Now they're probably going to want to clone the thing so they can get more beef out of them. Actually, I guess
there's a ribeye just waiting to happen, boy. I just think about that. Think about that barbecue.
That's a brontosaurus burger. That's something that Fred Flintstone would eat.
Hey, listen, this just came through on the Associated Press. NASA launches a spacecraft on a 7-year mission to visit an asteroid and bring back samples. Why do we need samples of an asteroid?
I don't know. Maybe we'll find some sort of a mineral or some sort of a piece of
piece of asteroid.
A piece of asteroid, exactly. Nothing like a good piece of asteroid to make your day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know
exactly. Yeah. I pretty much can't say it any better than that. But, maybe we'll find something that we can use to make, better machinery, stronger metal, maybe something that's stronger than steel and lighter than, titanium, and who knows? Maybe we'll find something that maybe we'll find a cure for cancer.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, we have a deal out of Newcastle, Delaware. It's about interstate nonsense. You heard about this? Unstamped coins spill in Delaware. Authorities in Delaware say a tractor trailer carrying 45,000 pounds of unstamped pennies overturned on northbound Interstate 95, spilling its load and jamming traffic.
That's amazing.
I mean,
can you imagine cleaning that up?
No, I mean, well, I guess a skip loader, I suppose. No, maybe not. If they're unstamped, you've got to maintain their integrity, right?
I can't remember the cost, but it costs more than a penny.
Yes.
To make a penny.
It costs more than a penny to make a penny. It costs more than a nickel to make a nickel, and I think it's even a dime. I think is not cost effective. But here's one for you that I think that you'll really appreciate, and that is Bruce Springsteen. Again, breaks a record for the longest U.S. show. Now, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band just don't want to leave the stage. Wednesday night's concert at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia lasted, ready for this, nearly 4 hours, 4 minutes, breaking the previous record for the group's longest U.S. show that was set last week. Can you imagine 4 hours?
Bruce Springsteen, look how old he is. It probably took him 45 minutes just to get from the edge of the stage to the middle and start singing, and everyone's like, come on, Bruce. And then he's like, all right, thanks, have a good night. And there he is a half an hour later, still walking across the stage. Bruce Springsteen, how does he do in a 4-hour concert? What is he, like 60 years old at least?
I'm guessing, he must be in pretty doggone good shape or just doesn't know how bad a shape he's in.
I guess. I mean, and I say that like 60 years old is not that old, but I can tell you, I did a speaking engagement one time that lasted. Actually, I spoke myself in this engagement for 4 hours. I had a 1 hour break in the middle when someone else spoke, and all I did, I wasn't like singing. These guys are singing, man. That takes a ton of energy. All I was doing was talking. I'm walking around, running around. I didn't be jumping around. I wasn't crazy though. But I tell you what, I was exhausted. And now when I say exhausted, it's not like, oh gosh, I'm so tired. I've had a long day at work. No, this was 15 minutes after the last person left. It was like someone just pulled a plug out of me, and all the energy in me just drained away. And I literally just shuffled my feet out to the car. I drove home. And I took a nap for 2.5 hours, and I woke up and I was still exhausted.
Well, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
When you do one of your seminars, and you're prepared and you know the information, you know what's there. But the truth is, when you get on stage, you are on stage, and you raise the energy level, you raise your voice and the inflections, you do all this stuff. And whether people realize it or not, that is hard work to try to maintain that. When you get done, it's like somebody beat you up.
It really is. It's exactly what it's like. Yeah, doing a long talk is exhausting. And I know like most of the guys that I know who do that professionally, do it for a living, they have a very special regimen they follow before, like the way they eat. I know some guys that actually don't eat at all because the food weighs them. Just digesting food takes so much energy, and they've gotten their body in a state. There's actually a way you can get your body to where your primary source of energy is fat, where you're a fat burner, and so you don't even need carbohydrates for energy, and so you cannot eat and have tons of energy. And so I know people that are like, they won't even eat for like 2 days if they're doing like a big seminar, because just in the simple act of going out and having dinner will weigh them down so much that their performance will be lower the next day. Yeah, it's when you do public speaking, it's most people don't realize. You just think, okay, some guy standing up there and he's talking, and it's like, no, you got to be on point. You got to be. You can't pick your nose. You don't want to be saying stumbling through things a lot, and if something itches, depending on where it is, you just got to let it itch. It's just the way it is. You can't scratch everything in front of 200 people.
Sally, what is he doing?
Yeah, what kind of seminar is this? Marco, what did you bring me to? Yeah, it is. It can be just draining getting up there. It's fun, and it's one of the most rewarding things you can do.
Yeah.
But it can definitely get draining as well. So yeah. Wow, Bruce Springsteen over 4 hours.
Can you imagine? That's a long time, man. That's a long. Yeah. That is a long concert. And I'll tell you something else. I mean, that has got to be an ear splitting. You got to be deaf by the time that's done.
Oh,
if you're in the audience and you got 4 hours of that volume coming out, you got
that's
wow.
Yeah, you're right. That's got to be ear splitting. What is an average concert? It's like 2 hours. So and I wonder if there was did he have an opening act? Like maybe there was an hour and a half before he got on. Maybe someone else did it. You're right though. Walking away from a concert like that, your ears have just got to be, ringing.
Oh
yeah, that's. Wow, yeah, I didn't even know. It's so funny, all these old rockers and even old country artists, and that they're still out, doing. Like I did go see and I would put this in quotations if I was standing here talking to you. I went and saw the Beach Boys. I think was it last year? I think it was last year. And of course, there's only one original member of the Beach Boys, but there's still a original member of the Beach Boys.
Mm-hmm.
They're still around. The rest of them are all younger guys, and I think all but there's the one, I can't remember which one it was. It's the one that's still singing.
Wilson.
There's another one. What's that?
Isn't his name Charlie Wilson or something like that?
I think you're right. That's the name. That name rings a bell when you say it.
Yeah.
And then I think there's one other one whose health is just so poor that he can't tour, and I think he's even got some, like maybe I don't know if it's dementia or so. I can't remember exactly what it is, and I think all the rest of them are all dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy. All these guys that you think, boy, that's got to be a tough life. 40 years later, you're still going out and doing these big concerts, and that's got to be hard on the body.
Hey, listen, I wanted to ask you. We were talking about, absolutely. We were talking about food before, right, and cooking and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Do you like oysters?
Oh my gosh, I love oysters.
Oh boy, have I got news for you! You're going to just love this. New York City Bay is to get oysters on beds made from recycled toilets. New York City's placing 50,000 oysters in Jamaica Bay on beds made with the porcelain from 5,000 recycled toilets.
I guess there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's porcelain. So.
It's not only the porcelain is being recycled, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a little bit of fertilizer thrown in there, too. But, that's interesting. Porcelain, so do they take them and just crush it up into little pieces? And
you know what? I don't know. I guess they do. Mayor Bill de Blasio in the Department of Environmental Protection said today that the project is the largest single installation of breeding oysters in New York City.
And this is going to be done actually in ocean water. It's not like a farm, like one of those.
No. Yeah, it's going to be in ocean water, Jamaica Bay.
That sounds really cool. I'm digging it because I love oysters. Man, I tell you what, oysters, I like them just just raw on the half shell.
Yeah, I do too. I like oysters on the half shell. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Put a little bit of maybe some Tabasco or a little bit of vinegar. Or,
you know what? It's interesting. I dress an oyster up. I put horseradish and I put Tabasco and I put a little bit of cocktail sauce on it, and I put I put the whole 9 yards on it. By the time I get done dressing it up, I'm so exhausted I go to sleep anyway. But basically, God, I just love. They taste so fresh, so briny, so good. You get a fresh one.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm not even interested in them if they're not fresh.
Oh no. Yeah. That's the one nice thing about being out and being on the coast of California. I know that oysters aren't real abundant out there, but we get so much fresh seafood there, and even fresh oysters. That fresh oysters are just they're such a delight. And I know people that that just won't even try them because they're like they look slimy, and I'm like, well, they are kind of slimy to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but. But that's part of what makes them so yummy is they just, but they're, there's not a ton of flavor on them, but it's just refreshing, something about it. They're just absolutely wonderful.
I could eat a dozen of them by myself without any problem. No problem at all.
Gosh. Oh yeah, it does. And it was a good start. Yeah, I love them. And, yeah, that amazes me. And I know a lot of people like that. They won't even try certain foods.
I'll try anything once as long as it's not moving.
Well, I've eaten stuff that was moving. At least it was moving until I tried to eat it. But
no, I draw the line. It just can't be moving. I don't care if it's sleeping. It just can't be moving. Anyway, we got to take a short break. We're going to be right back with our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages. God only knows what we're going to talk about, and he's holding his breath and crossing his fingers. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Sean.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time. Well, this is going down a little bit. It's 85 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're in Paris, France, well, you know what? It's 57 degrees and clear. And if you're listening to us in Rome, Italy, it's 72 degrees and clear. But you know what? No matter where you're listening to us, we've got some great conversation going on with my good buddy, Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. We've talked about everything but wellness, actually, today. We've talked about cooking. We've talked about politics. We've talked about stupid people. Well, that is politics, I guess.
Same thing.
Yep, we talked about oysters. That's good for you.
Oh man, I love oysters. We'll get off of that because I'll keep talking about that. Here's something we can talk about if we want to get on the health issue.
Sure.
Is the whole Zika virus thing. Oh,
did you see that? Well, at least Congress, in its wisdom, denied this last. How much was it? $30 million or something for Zika.
Oh, I don't know. No, I didn't see that, but
yeah. Anyway, you know what? You know what? The only thing that's a little scary, Sean, is they talk about, and it's in the mail, and it's on the Associated Press. I bet I could pick it up right now, and I'll bet you there'd be 2 or 3 things about Zika on the Associated Press. It's just they keep talking about it and talking about it. I can't hardly help but think that somebody's trying to create a controversy here because it's profitable.
You know what? And I'm glad you said it without me having to say it first, because I couldn't agree with you more. You know, you think about, look at all the drama that our, government, CDC, medical community, whoever you want to put in charge of this, media, of course, loves it because it draws attention. But everything from, the bird flu, the swine flu, the Ebola, and all these things were going to be, oh man, so many people are going to die. We got to do this. And every single one of them turns out to be nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Maybe I think with swine flu, I think maybe a couple hundred people died like worldwide or something like that, which is really not even a blip on the radar. And the thing with Zika, it's been around. I'm sure it's been around for a long time, but we've known about it for over 60 years, and it's never created any problems with anybody in any fashion up until supposedly, it created that in encephalopathy, with the kids being born with the little heads, down in Brazil. And actually, they're even saying now, they're going, okay, it's not really Zika, it's actually the anti-larva pesticide that we were spraying. Because actually, if you look at the case, remember when it first came out, we talked about it, and I was like, hey, there was this big push for pregnant women getting vaccines, and it really seemed to coincide. And I kept doing more research, and the research I did, I started going, okay, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense, because it was in a localized area, and what they found was there was actually a pesticide being sprayed in that area of trying to actually kill these mosquitoes. It was this larva pesticide that they believe now is responsible. And it's one that is actually known for having one of the side effects is birth defects. And of course, we sprayed Florida. Was it over the weekend? They sprayed out in Florida for these mosquitoes to kill all these Zika mosquitoes. I don't know how they expect to kill just the Zika mosquitoes. But
wait a minute. Are you saying that they're not doing a heavy vetting and asking for ID and just saying, "Are you a Zika mosquito?"
Exactly. Come here, buzz on over here, buddy. Come on. Show me some ID. All right. Come here. We're going to do a little test. I just need to draw some blood. We're going to see if you got Zika. But,
boy, that was...
so they're spraying with trucks. They're spraying with airplanes. So they killed 2.5 million bees. I mean, people who, beekeepers who raise bees and their livelihood is the honey that comes from these bees. And
well, yeah, but not only that, didn't you and I do a show one day where we talked about the importance of bees to the environment?
Well, it's important to the existence of life on the planet.
Yeah.
Without bees, nothing exists. Bees are so critical for pollination and for the development of our ecosystem that literally you kill off enough bees and life will, maybe the cockroaches will be around. I don't know, cockroaches and probably Hillary Clinton. But, talking about health problems, boy, man, I'm really curious where this is going to go with her on all her supposed health issues. But she sure acts like she's got a lot of health issues, but she's sure denying it.
Well, you know what? I don't know what worries me more, the fact that she might have health issues, or the fact that Donald Trump has got mental issues. You know what? I just. You know, no matter who we've got this libertarian guy. I can never remember his name. Anyway, we've got that guy that's working a can short of a six pack. We got Trump that's got mental health issues. We've got Hillary who's got just a compulsive lying issues. And she's a thief and a crook. I'm thinking, can't we find just one moderately honest thief in Washington D.C. that could be president?
Yeah, I'm pretty baffled on it myself. I'm still, I know that. Yeah, I'm saying you used to be more of a Trump supporter. I'm still a Trump supporter. But,
you know what? I was until prejudice started coming out, and the fact that I thought he became, in my opinion, he's a racist, and he's prejudiced, and he's a liar. And he's not telling us the truth. And I think what he's doing, running for president, is not to run for president. I think he's doing a marketing campaign because he wants to have his own television network, and he'll get about 40 million followers this way. I think he's taking the American people for a ride. I was a follower of his. I really wanted change in Washington D.C.
I know.
But what I'm getting is no choice, and that's what I really hate.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I agree with you. Yeah, there really is. There is. You look at it either way, you're going, man. To me, Trump is the lesser of evils, but man, anyway. But back to Zika, back to something fun. The Zika virus. That's the funny thing is, people. We're talking about this Zika virus, and and everyone wants to spray for it, and kill it. And I'm thinking.
Well, it sounds like a Greek sauce.
Why? Where's the science?
Zika sounds like a Greek dipping sauce, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Oh my gosh, yeah. Can I get a little Ziki on the side with that?
Yeah,
a little Zika on the side with that, please.
Yeah.
I'll take a hummus shawarma with some Zika sauce. But matter of fact, I can't think of the guy's name, but he's a governor down in Florida, and his wife actually is owner, or at least part owner, of one of the companies that owns this pesticide spraying company that's out there spraying. Mm-hmm. So there's a big shocker. Speaking of crooked politicians, mm-hmm. But yeah, I do believe that this whole Zika hype is media driven. It's fear driven. That there is a profit behind that somebody wants to make some money off of Zika.
Oh, yeah.
It's something we never heard of. All of a sudden, boom, Brazil, little babies born with small heads. Oh my gosh, it's coming to Florida. Protect yourself, and everyone's all freaked out. And the fact is, it's a virus. We treat viruses. I mean, granted, there are some of them like, HIV is a really bad one. Herpes is one that kind of sticks around for a while, mm-hmm. Forever. But really, most viruses that we get, they're pretty benign. They run their course. Even the human papillomavirus, which they've got, and that's another one. Boy, this Gardasil vaccine that's out there for that they consider it a cancer vaccine.
Yes,
that is. If you do the research on that is damaging so many young ladies, so many young girls. It's a scary vaccine. So many teenagers been damaged by this, and I'm talking in a bad way. Not like they got a little bit of a rash, or I'm talking girls that mentally damaged for the rest of their lives were dead. And but even that virus, it's one of those things that it will run its course. And I saw something the other day. Of course, we're coming up. It's coming up on the fall's coming here, and the holidays are coming up, and of course that means that the flu season is here. And I thought, the whole term flu season, flu of course is just short for influenza, and it's a virus. And the thing is, like we act like this virus is taking a vacation during the summer, like it's down in the Bahamas getting a suntan, and so we don't really have to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's like it's what I'm saying. It's like, it's flu season. You know, it's not like it's like it's not like Laguna Beach, or Newport Beach, where like, okay, it's tourist season and now I got to deal with 5 times as many people as I normally would. The virus is always around; it's always there. And so the question is, well, why is there a quote unquote flu season? And the short answer is because during the holiday season, starting around of course, football season is here, so everyone's going to have football parties. They're going to eat garbage. We're going to have Halloween. Everyone's going to have candy.
Well, I was just thinking about something. When I was in active practice before I retired, one of my biggest seasons was tax season, and I looked at tax season. But tax season was an income opportunity, right? So I'm guessing every season must be an income opportunity. When it's flu season, I guess it's an income opportunity for medical science and for drug companies. When it's football season, it's an income opportunity for the national networks, right? And for the
national networks,
NFL.
The NFL, and the networks, absolutely.
Every season is an income opportunity. So if you look at it that way, you start having to question the very things that you are opposed to, which is the vaccinations. They're going to have a season for every one of these dang things.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it boils down to. Is they push this flu vaccine and they're pushing it on little kids and old people now, and they're pushing it on pregnant women. I mean, basically almost everybody gets the flu shot, and they act like you're basically kind of trying to commit suicide if you don't want to get it. Like, oh, what's wrong with you? You're an idiot. But the fact is, during the flu season, quote unquote season, what we're doing is they're in a time where the holidays are here, Thanksgiving, football season, Halloween, on and on and on, all the way up through, Christmas and New Year. And all we do is we just eat garbage. We go to parties and, no one goes to a party and says, man, thanks for bringing the broccoli. It just doesn't happen. You
got any string beans in that bag?
Yeah, you got a
little asparagus I can chew on there.
Exactly. Hey, who brought the grass-fed beef this time?
You got any lemongrass over there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who's got the wheatgrass shots? Did you guys bring the wheatgrass shots? Because we're doing shots, baby. But there's another thing. We're drinking more alcohol, and of course, also is the nights are getting longer and the days are getting shorter now. We're past the apex of summer, so our days are getting shorter, which means
it's party season.
Yeah.
It's the holiday season. We're back to making money.
Yeah, we're back to making money. Yeah, every season's got a money making potential, and I believe the flu season is just that. That really the reason why people tend to get. Not everybody gets the flu. It's not like okay.
No, but I'll tell you what. Very very honestly, I do get a flu shot every year. Last year was no exception to that. I got a flu shot, and then I also got the flu. And I want to tell you, it was not fun.
I haven't had the flu. I think I had the flu back in 2009. At least I'm pretty sure it was the flu. And that was the last time. That's the only time since I separated from the military that I had any flu type symptoms. And anybody can get the flu. You're doing whatever. It's done about. Said it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not going to kill you unless you have a compromised immune system. And the 90% of the people really don't have a compromised immune system, maybe 96, 97, I don't know what the percentage is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when I was in the military, of course I didn't have an option. I got so many vaccines, it's ridiculous. I got the flu vaccine, and almost every year I got flu symptoms. Mm. It was just a normal thing for me. I'm like, oh gosh, here I go. I'm going to get the flu shot, and then I'm going to get flu symptoms. And it was like clockwork. Within 2 days, I'm feeling like garbage. It was never horrible, but it was never like, okay, great, I got a shot, and now I don't have to worry. I always thought it was okay. Now I have to worry because I know I'm going to get sick here in a couple of days. Yeah, and I hated getting the flu vaccine. It was just, I don't know why, my body just didn't respond to it well, but really, the best thing that anybody could do is just eat healthy, which is a hard thing to do during the holidays. I get it.
I'm not real crazy about any time that they want to stick a needle in me.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
I don't mind needles. Physically, like an act of, you can stab me with needles all day long, and it doesn't bother me. Like being stabbed with a needle, like when if someone's going to draw blood, I've watched. They're like, you don't have to. You can look away if it makes you more comfortable. I'm like, dude, you're going to stab me. You think I want to look away from you? Like, no, I'm watching to make sure you don't screw it up.
Yeah, but, I don't mind. I don't mind that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what I really hate. I really hate that you stole another hour from me.
You hate the what?
I hate that you stole another hour from me.
I did do that. Are we at the end of that hour already?
Yeah, we're over that hour.
Well, at least we got some helpful topics in the end there. well, next Tuesday, I'll come up. I'll email you some stuff. We'll get right on the health topics on next Tuesday, but I have no idea what it's going to be. It's going to be a surprise. But I have a fun time, Robert.
I'll try to load you get you some information at the same time. In the meantime, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay dry if you can. Stay comfortable and stay safe.
Right. Sounds great. Same to you. I had a fun time as always, and I will see you on Tuesday.
All right, buddy. You take care. The rest of you folks, do not go away, because when we come back, we'll be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and interesting but useless facts. And right after that, we'll be doing our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And the story today is going to be an affair of the heart. I'll tell you all about that. Rest of these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. if you're listening to us in London on our globally syndicated network, it's 63 degrees and clear. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it is 61 degrees and clear. But you know what? Right now, I want to talk to you about a little bit of business. Let's talk about the Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is, don't let important customers pressure you into giving them a discount. You know what? When a customer knows that you can't afford to lose them, they'll often try everything in their power to wring out cost savings. But don't give in to the pressure to give them a discount. Change the tenor of the conversation by focusing on the value that you create for them. Ask which features or services they'd be willing to give up to get a lower price. Doing so will move the conversation away from haggling and toward a productive discussion about what they really value. And don't get rattled if your customer goes quiet, stops returning phone calls, and ignores you. Remember, you are their preferred supplier for a reason, and there will likely be substantial switching costs if they want to change vendors. Silence is a powerful negotiation tactic. Don't let it push you into giving a revenue-destroying discount. You know what? You give discounts, but only when you need to. Only when it's justified. Only when it's warranted. Not just because it's asked for. Well, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teaching for your life. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You do control your entire life. You decide if you're going to be happy, sad, rich, poor, a success, or a failure. You decide if the people around you are going to be happy. You do that every morning when you get up and out of bed and you look in the mirror and you say, wow, I'm going to have a productive, profitable day today. It's going to be a great day. You can't hardly wait to get to work. Well, it's all up to you in that positive mental attitude. Well, the secret for today is, may your heart keep whispering to you and reminding and reassuring you that all is love and that all is very, very well. Sort of, you're on track, right? That's exactly what it means. Well, you know what today is. Everybody knows what today is. Today is Thursday, and it's September the 8th. You know what else it is? Yeah, it's somebody's birthday. Okay, we've got some great birthdays for you today, so we might as well just get right to them. And the first birthday we've got here is a fellow that was born in 1925. He passed away in 1980, an actor known for his role as Chief Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther film series. Happy birthday to Peter Sellers. And a person born 1970, a singer, songwriter, best known for her solo career and her C as a member of the indie band, The New Palmographers. Happy birthday, Neko Case. And then, finally, a person born in 1979, an American singer and songwriter. To date, she has sold over 31 million albums worldwide. Happy birthday, Pink. Yeah, you thought it was just a color, huh? Well, you ever wonder about what was going on today in history? Well, I can tell you, on September the 8th, 1966, you ready for this? The very first Star Trek series premieres on NBC. Yeah. And in 1968, the Beatles performed their last live TV performance on the David Frost Show. They performed their new hit, Hey Jude. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And then finally, in 1974, Watergate scandal, U.S. President Gerald Ford pardons former President Richard Nixon for any crimes Nixon may have committed while in office. Can you imagine? Wow. Any crimes he may have committed. Any and all. Wow. Well, you know what? The quote for today comes from an unknown author, and he says, when you're in jail, a good friend will be trying to bail you out. A best friend will be in the cell next to you saying, damn, that was fun. That could be my good buddy Don Armstrong saying that kind of stuff. Yeah, he'd be there with me. And you know what? Let's talk about interesting but useless facts. We're actually a little bit ahead of ourselves. We don't usually get that way, but let's do that right now. We got a few of them. Did you know that hacky sack was invented in Turkey? Yeah, not buy a turkey, but in Turkey. Did you know that mineral deposits in caves, the ones growing upward are stalagmites. The ones growing downward are stalactites. Yeah. Did you care? Well, you know what? If you were there, you'd want to know the difference. And having been in some of those caves, they're just magnificent. You know what? A male butterfly can smell a female butterfly from several miles away. Now, you say, you know, big deal. Sharks do that kind of stuff in water, but we're talking about they're not in water, and look at the size difference. Wow. How about this? The Great Gothic Cathedral of Milan was started in 1386 and wasn't completed until 1805. I've had the privilege of actually visiting that cathedral. What a magnificent edifice it is. It really is. And how about this? Gunsmoke debuted on CBS TV in 1955 and went on to become the longest running, it ran for 20 years, by the way, series on television. Yep, Marshall Dillon. Miss Kitty. Yeah, Chester. Well, I'm not going to go all the way. You can think I'm nuts. How about this one? Do you know that there are about 1 billion seconds in 32 years? 1 billion. You wondered about what a billion is? Well, 32 years makes up 1 billion seconds. That's interesting. I find that fascinating. Try this one. It is estimated that a plastic container can resist decomposition for as long as 50,000 years. Now, that, my friends, is an amazing, amazing fact. Let me leave you with this one. India invented the number system. 0 was invented by, Aryabhata. I'm not going to leave it with that one. I'll leave you with this one. Mandarin duck couples stop liking each other after their nest is built. I guess. Kind of works like marriage, right? Well, anyway, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 85 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. On its way down to 61 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in Madrid, Spain, well, 75 degrees and clear. And if you're in Tokyo, Japan, it's 82 degrees and mostly cloudy. But you know what time it is now? You bet. It's time for our tribute. Yes, sir. The late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Well, you know what? He's the biggest and best voice in America, reveals the startling heartbeats behind the headlines. Paul Harvey, one of America's favorite radio and TV commentators, was heard on over 775 ABC radio stations and over 400 foreign stations. Seen on 110 television stations, read on 300 newspapers, and recipient of numerous awards and honors, including 9 honorary degrees. He's on the Gallup Polls list of America's most admired men. For those of you that have never had the chance to hear Paul Harvey, you really missed out. Well, here's our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Today's story, an affair of the heart. You know what? In an up-tempo era of constant medical advancement, there's good news tonight. There are 2 related items. The first, dated April, a new centrifuge has been developed, a centrifuge capable of separating blood cells from blood plasma. More to follow. The second item has an even more recent dateline. Research at Rockefeller Institute has culminated in the successful design of an artificial heart and lung, in which whole organs, animal or human, can be kept alive indefinitely. The organs may be preserved for study or for use as chemical factories where vital substances might be produced. The supply of such substances would be practically unlimited. If these stories did not make headlines, there's a reason for it. The researcher, the inventor of the hemocentrifuge, and the designer of the artificial heart lung, one and the same man, had been working in secret. But who might he be? Bernard DeBakey? No, his name was Charles Augustus. He finished the hemocentrifuge in April of 1932. The design for the artificial heart and lung was complete in 1935. And though you say you've never heard of Charles Augustus, I'll bet you have. He was born in Detroit on February 4th, 1902. As far as we know, he had no early ambition to be a medical researcher, but we do know that it was on his father's dairy farm that Charles came into contact with his first centrifuge, the cream separator. Whether the cream separator was Charles' earliest model for the hemocentrifuge is not known. It seems reasonable, though. Charles's father, 10 years a U.S. congressman, knew the importance of a good education and wanted a solid base of knowledge for his son. So Charles went to college at the University of Wisconsin. It was there, after 2 years, that the young man decided what he would do with his life. Charles's interest in the Rockefeller Institute began one day when a supply of pneumonia serum was flown from there to Quebec to to save the life of one of Charles' close friends. 2 years later, he joined the staff at Rockefeller to begin his remarkable research in secret. This research eventually culminated in a book co-authored by Dr. Alexis Carrel, The Culture of Organs. Although its contents are extremely valuable, Charles would have to wait another 15 years for his well-earned Pulitzer Prize, and that for another volume. In the years before his death, Charles Augustus devoted himself to ecology, again, working for the betterment of mankind, quietly. If you don't recognize the man about whom you've just heard, it's perhaps because he wanted it that way. For Charles Augustus has been described as the best known, least understood figure in another field, unrelated to medicine, and that is the rest of the story. When the pneumonia serum had been flown to the rescue of a friend Charles, flew it there. But if his brush with medicine was an affair of the heart, then it would have to be a secret affair, for that's the way he was. In fact, some called him the Lone Eagle, for the man who designed the artificial heart and lung would have to wait for his Pulitzer Prize. The book for which it was awarded was The Spirit of St. Louis by Charles Augustus Lindbergh. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, on my next show, John Matthews, Joe Hakels, and I, we're going to be talking about conservative politics on our semi-weekly simulcast. David Garrett's going to be here with his Garrett on the Law segment, and then I'm going to continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. You know what? Tomorrow's story is going to be Clarence who? Yeah. Well, don't forget to tell all your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. They'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did, and I guarantee you, I'll be glad you did, too.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.